Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon in the East Coast. Taidy Aburto, President and CEO of the Hispanic Chamber of E-Commerce, and I have standing next to me a Latina inventor,
Yes.
Frances Prado. Frances, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Teddy. I'm really excited to be here.
I know I'm very excited about this conversation. For those that are going to be watching us live, thank you very much. And for those that are going to be watching this interview later, please feel free to leave your comments, and I'm sure Frances will be able to follow up, whenever she has time. So, Frances, before we start, talking about your invention, I would like for you to give the audience a little bit of history about your background. Where are you from? Where were you born? Where have you lived?
Okay, sure. Well, I'll start with my parents because my parents were from Amatlan de Cañas, Nayarit, and they came to the U.S. in 1963. They stayed in Tijuana for about 4 to 5 years because we're 7 siblings, and 4 were born in Tijuana, and the last 3 were born in Bakersfield. And I was one of the 3 born in Bakersfield. I'm the second to the youngest, and my parents came to the United States to provide a better life for their kids.
So, Nayarit and where?
Amatlan de Cañas, Nayarit.
Okay. But I recently saw a picture of you in Jalisco.
Yes, because my husband is from Ameca, Jalisco.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he's from Ameca, Jalisco, and so we go back. You probably saw it while we were on vacation. We go back a few times a year. So my parents came to this country in 1963, and they started out as field workers in the onions in Bakersfield.
Onions?
Onions. Toughest job I've ever had in my life.
Oh, so you
Yes.
get to work in the fields too?
Yes.
For how
I did.
long?
For I would say about maybe 5 years. So in the summer, after school, and on the weekends, we were always there.
So after school?
After school, and in the summer, it was throughout our whole summer. You know, our days. I remember getting up. It was dark, and my dad had a little van, and we would go, and it was still dark, and my father would turn on the lights of his car so that he could see the fields and start working. Yes, we were the first ones to get there, and we were the last ones to leave.
To leave?
To leave.
So, how does that influence your character as a woman? Because, I have seen people working on the fields. It's not an easy job.
No, it's not. Again, when I remember the really harsh working conditions, it was 115 degrees. The onion.
Yeah, Bakersfield is hot.
It's very hot. When you cut the root of the onion, that onion juice starts to come out, and it starts to really irritate your eyes. The sun is beaming on you. But what I've learned, it just created a very good work ethic and a very good foundation for us. You just get it done.
And you only did it for 5 years?
I did it only for 5 years, yes.
And why is that? Because then you moved to...
No, what happened was, thank goodness for Cesar Chavez, that started that movement. I believe it was in like 1974, where he said, you know what, you can no longer have kids working in the fields.
Oh.
So my dad probably figured, okay, he's going to take 80% of my workforce. So thanks to him, they pulled the kids out of the fields.
Okay, and when was that? What year?
That was in probably 1974.
1974.
1974 to 1976, because my youngest sister was born in 1976.
But when you were working on the fields, were you being paid?
Well, we were being paid through my father, because what we all did,
so
we all worked.
Yes. So it was like a package.
Yes.
And so that was in 1970. 76. And then when did you move from there?
We moved to San Diego in part of 1976.
From Bakersfield?
From Bakersfield.
Okay.
But in Bakersfield, my father, now that I'm an entrepreneur, there was 9 of us, 7 kids and my parents. And out of the 9, 7 were entrepreneurs.
And doing what?
My father had opened up a bakery shop in Bakersfield.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your brothers?
And my brother here in San Diego is auto mechanic, auto body, and appliance and repairs. And now Frances with Hanging Secrets. My mom used to sell tamales. So out of the 9, 7 are entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that's awesome. So are you one of the youngest?
I'm the second to the youngest.
Second to the youngest.
Yes.
Okay. So you moved to San Diego in what year?
In 1976.
1976. And then, do you have a degree? Did you go to the college?
No, they. I met my husband.
How old were you?
I met my husband when I was 13. Ay, caray, I almost
13.
made you choke with that water.
So, 13?
13.
So you were in high school?
I was in high school. My father passed away in an accident
Oh
in
my God.
1980.
Car accident?
No, he fell down the stairs. He fell down the stairs and he hit his head. He was 50 years old. And at the time I was 13. My mom was, I believe, like 42, and she was a widow with 7 kids under the age of 21.
Wow.
Yeah, and she had never, aside from the field, she had never worked. When my father moved here to San Diego, he was a baker, and he worked for Vaughn's. So my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and you know, at age of 42, she ends up being a widow. My brothers had to drop out of school to start supporting the family, so they couldn't finish.
So how old were you when your dad passed away?
13.
And that led you into dating your husband?
I don't. If my father was alive, I don't think I would be meeting my husband at 13. But what happened was that my mom went to Mexico a few months after my father had passed away.
Okay.
He passed away in June, and I believe our first trip was in September, and that's where I met my husband.
In Mexico?
In Mexico, in Amatlan de Cañas, Nayarit.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So he's an immigrant to this country too.
Okay.
So I met my husband when I was 13, and we got married when I was 16.
16?
Yes.
So you only dated for like 3 years?
3 years. And it was off and on because he was in Mexico and I was here. And when and so when he turned 19, he came to the United States.
Okay. 19.
Yes.
So, yeah, this is getting really interesting. Huh? I mean, you're making me think. I'm trying to follow the dates. So you met 13, got married at 16, but he moved here when he was 19.
19.
When you were 19.
When he was 19.
Oh,
and I was 16. We're 3 years apart.
Oh, okay. And during that time, you were having like a long distance relationship?
Relationships, yeah. We would send letters. Back in the day, it was letters.
Mm-hmm. No email?
No email, no Facebook, and it was, phone calls. And at 19, he asked my mom to marry me. That he wanted to marry me.
That's pretty cool. And you have been living in San Diego since then?
Yes.
You didn't move or anything?
No, we
okay.
stayed in San Diego.
So, what was one of your first jobs if you didn't have the opportunity to go to college?
Well,
I mean, because I know that you start working on the fields, but
right.
when you moved to San Diego?
Right. When I moved to San Diego, so I went to San Diego High School, and at the high school they had this, in the 10th grade, because I did finish the 10th grade, they had a program to work in the zoo. So I worked in the food stand. In the food stand. And on the weekends I would work in the swap meet. And when I was 18 years old, I got a job for Fedco in National City. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
No? Yeah.
So I moved here late. I mean, I moved to San Diego in 2010.
Okay, so in 1983, 84, Fedco was a department store in National City.
Mm-hmm.
And they were hiring, I think they were going to hire about 500 people. So we went, me and my husband, and we stood in line, and we both got hired. So that was our first job as being married. And I worked for for Fedco for 10 years.
Yeah.
I worked for Fedco for 10 years. But when I was 24th, I didn't like the fact that I didn't finish high school because I got married. So I went back and I got my GED.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I went back and I got my GED. And from there, I worked for Fedco for 10 years. And I was the assistant food service manager. And then from there, I moved to Costco. And I've worked for Costco for the past 22 years as a production manager.
Wow. So how old were you when you got your GED?
I was 24.
So it's never late to get it.
No.
Never get later. That's a really good advice. So you have been working now for Costco for 22 years.
22 years. I'm going on 23.
Okay. That's a long. So you're about to retire.
Almost.
Now, let's get to the nuts and bolts of this conversation. You are an inventor.
Yes.
When did that happen?
It happened in a time of my life when my son was in Afghanistan. He was in the Navy.
Okay.
And he was deployed over in Afghanistan, and my daughter was studying in Guadalajara. And my husband was working a 10-hour shift, and I specifically remember asking myself, Frances, what are you going to do with all this extra time on your hands, and how are you not going to worry about your son? And the first thing that came to my mind was to clean and organize. So I started in my bedroom, I pulled out the drawer, and my bras were a mess. And I said, you know what, there has to be a better way. Because I remember grabbing all my bras, throwing them on the bed, searching for what I needed, getting them and putting them back in the drawer. And I said, wait a minute, there has to be a better way.
We're gonna show you Frances' invention in a little bit, but okay, so the idea was as a result of
a problem.
That you were having.
Yes.
Okay, so you know, like probably a lot of us go through that stage at some point in life, but what made you think like I need to like invent something?
I need to solve it. I think, you know, if I think about it now, I think it correlates back to my work that I do for Costco. You know, you solve a problem, you have a problem, you solve it.
So definitely the skills that you have learned at Costco, your experience there,
Oh,
led you
absolutely.
into
Absolutely. I believe it does have to influence you because, you know, you don't take no for an answer, you just, you get it done. And I think that, I mean, I've been for Costco for 22 years, and again, you just get it done. If there's a problem, you get it done.
And before we show the product, did you sketch it first?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. And I brought that, my first hand sketch.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Sure. So in this actual book?
This is it. This is my first hand sketch.
Can you
I can show it? Sure.
So
this was July 26, 2009.
2009.
2009.
When you sketched that.
This is my first hand sketch.
Okay, and then from there, do you have other pages? Like you start working?
No,
on it?
this was my ideal. This was the concept, the first concept. You know, as an inventor, and when you start out with the project, you first draw it, you think about it, you draw it, and then the second stage is to create prototypes, because it's one thing that it looks fine on paper, and you think it's going to work, but another thing is actually put it into motion, put it into action. So I went to Costco and I bought the bathing suits that they had in these plastic bodies, and I cut out the booby area, and I was able to form a homemade sample. It cost me about maybe $20.
You take a picture of that?
I have it. I still have it. I still have my original one.
It would be pretty cool if you could share it someday.
Sure, I still have that, and my sister helped me sew the first one. So once I created the first prototype, from there you start getting an idea. You know, what is it going to work? Is it functionable? And you start to have a few people test it to see if it works, and then from there, so from the hand sketch to the actual manufactured sample that the product that we have now, it took about maybe 4 prototypes.
4 prototypes?
Yes.
And okay, so 4 prototypes, and were you in a situation where you needed to start investing money like right away for the prototypes? Are they expensive? Because I know, like, for example, if I want a prototype of a phone, it's gonna cost like, you know, crazy amount of money.
Well, now with 3D printing, 3D printing has really changed the whole dynamics of prototypes.
But were there 3D printing?
I don't remember there was 3D printing. But the first step that you want to do as an inventor is you want to protect. It's very important for you to protect your intellectual property.
Okay.
That's step 1. So from the hand sketch that I created, I immediately filed. Well, filing for a patent is very expensive. So there's the first step. It depends. It depends. If you get a lawyer, it's about $10,000 to $15,000.
$10,000 to $15,000. So where did you get that money from?
Here's the great part of that. That on my first stage, you file a provisional patent, a provisional utility patent. What that does, that secures the date of when you initiated your first idea. That gives you 1 year to determine whether this is a product you want to pursue. Okay. So what it does, it locks in that idea date.
So you don't have to pay the $10,000.
No, right there, there's a fee, the government fee, and I didn't have any money, so what I did is I went on the website, I printed out the whole page on how to do it. It was about a book about maybe an inch thick, and it took me 6 months. It was almost like learning a whole different language. It took me about 6 months, but I filed my own.
You filed your own?
I filed my own provisional.
Okay.
My own provisional.
So you filed your own in 6 months of putting all the information together?
It took me 6 months because, again, it was like learning a whole different language. And once you have that provisional patent, utility provisional patent, you're able to convert it into a non-provisional after a year. And during that time, I had gone to a couple of pitches, and I said, you know what, the first time I'll never forget, I went to a pitch in Hollywood, and that was the first time I had gotten professional feedback with the prototype that I had.
From inventors?
Yes.
Okay.
From inventors, and they were really excited about it. And I said, okay, Frances, this is the turning point. I was driving home, I was really excited because they had given me positive feedback about it. And I was driving home and I go, okay, I knew it was gonna cost about $10,000 to $15,000, because if you get a patent attorney, that's how much it costs. But during that process,
like for the provision?
For the non-provisional patent.
Oh, for the non-provision?
Yes, because there's a lot of claims that you have to protect. Prove and protect. But during that time, I had met someone that had worked originally for Costco and had worked for the patent office for 10 years.
Oh, so he was a good source of information.
Yes, so I went to him and I said, you know what, this is my situation. I don't have very much money. And thanks to him, having his price being so reasonable for me, I have my patent today. Because that's a huge investment. It's a huge investment. It is a huge investment.
And that doesn't really guarantee that it's gonna get patented, right?
Right, because the whole process takes about 4 years.
Okay.
And not every idea is granted a patent. And sometimes you think, why, I did Google search, I don't see it anywhere, but sometimes patents just get put away in the books and they never get manufactured. So you have to make sure they do a search, you have to make sure that doesn't exist somewhere in the patent office. And not out on the market, because one of the things you have to make sure that you're not infringing on someone else's idea.
So you started your patent in 2009?
In 2009, and I received my patent in 2014, March 24th, 2015.
Recently?
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And does that have a positive impact on your business?
Absolutely, because once, people take you seriously when you have a patent.
It's an asset also,
yes,
right?
Yes. And then one of the things too that is, as an inventor, you want to protect your intellectual property, but you also want to trademark the name, because that's another opportunity for you to say, okay, here's an idea, but also here's the brand. And that's how the Hanging Secrets logo.
So you got the patent and then you trademark the name?
Yes.
And that's Hanging Secrets.
Yes.
Can we show?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me show you guys. This is what Frances invented.
This is the travel version Hanging Secrets, and this one here specifically was created and launched to participate in the HSM Project American Dream.
That was last year, right?
In this year, in
January.
January.
Yeah.
So let me show you how it works.
Okay.
So this one here has the bikini. You're able to put bikinis, bras, panties, and there's a back pocket here.
Let me tell you how excited I am to be holding this. It's a nice feeling.
When did you ever think you're going to talk about bras and panties? Huh?
Yeah, on a live Facebook. and then I noticed this, like you have
all your travel necessities that you need when you travel. Your jewelry, your earrings, your belts. So it's all compact. It goes in the carry-on, and then you just place it down this way. Because what happens to, we thought our bras are being damaged at home. Well, they're being damaged when we travel too. So that's how we came up with the travel version.
And then you get to the hotel and boom.
You hang it in the closet.
You hang it in the
What
closet.
makes it very unique, is this hard plastic. You could tap on these.
So this was part of the patent?
Yes, this is part of the patent, because this is what protects the bras from getting crushed. That's one of the challenges.
And also, like the whole design is part of the patent, right?
Yes.
And it has to be like this material also?
Well, it can vary, but we selected this one here because it's a vinyl material, so it's easy to clean. And it's easy to maintain. Right now we only have this.
Can you wash this? Like if it gets like orange juice or something, like I'm at the hotel and oh no, because it's hanging. Right?
It's hanging. But again, if it does get dirty or dusty, because sometimes in the closet there's some dust, you can just get a little wipe and wipe it off. That was the critical part of.
So this is the travel version.
That's the travel version.
Now let me show the full.
That one we have to do can we do a stand-up presentation?
Yeah,
okay.
Let's do a stand-up presentation.
Okay. So again, it's the same concept. You're able to put 3 to 4 bras.
No, wait, let me open this so they can see us.
So you're able to put 3 to 4 bras per compartment, and again, it has this hard plastic. You're also able to accommodate bodysuits, bathing suits, and bikinis. and it just goes tucked in away in here, and it has the pocket here for the matching panties, and then it hangs in the closet or
Like
over
that?
the door, and this is what it looks like from the back. So again, it's made out of the vinyl
It's
material.
soft.
Yeah. One of the things that that we're very happy and excited about is that we have 100% satisfaction on our product. We have no product has been returned, and again, that's huge because that, you know, you're meeting the customer's needs there.
Also, is the brass, and then it has a
The
bag
pocket
in the pocket
for the matching panties.
for the matching pennies.
Yes.
So you match pennies like the way we match ties. And
We're supposed to,
Okay.
yes. We're supposed to. You know, it's one of the most delicate pieces of material that we put on our bodies. So you want to make sure, you know, that it looks nice and it's able
so
to see.
it's like 3 compartments.
Yes, you're able to put 12 bras and 24 panties, and it's also able to accommodate size 32 to size 40 bra size, depending on the cut.
Okay. Let's not get
Is that enough about bras and panties? I think you're blushing.
I'm blushing right here. But this is really cool, and you know, but I mean, everyone travels, so this is like very convenient right here.
Right, and you know, you use about 2 to 3 bras when you travel, and again, it has for the.
And also what I noticed, like, cause I've been traveling a lot lately, is like this actually helps to save space in your carry-on.
Yeah, you could put it in the carry-on or in the ones that you just turn it down this way here, and it protects the bras. Again, one of the things is, you know, having the bras being crushed, we spend a lot of money on our intimate apparel, and to have it crushed, well, that's something that we want to protect.
Yeah, it's true. I'll leave it right here. Okay, so
And
when,
can I share something about
Yeah,
the
yeah.
logo thing?
Yeah,
My daughter Ashley was 22 at the time. She's currently studying to be a graphic designer, and my daughter Ashley was the one who created the logo for us.
oh, she did?
Yes, she
Awesome.
did.
It's a really neat logo.
But that's what we get a lot of nice compliments about it, the colors and the whole thing. So she put that together. So
You save some money there too.
I know she charges me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she did.
That's good. So when did you start selling this? After all the whole process of, you know, like the sketch, the patent.
Well, one of the turning points was in December when I took the prototype of Hanging Secrets to my doctor, Dr. Melinda Silva, and she was my doctor, our anti-aging doctor, and I took it to her, and she really liked the concept, and that was in December. And in January, we formed our business. We were co-founders for Ageless, Beautiful, Clever Creations.
When was that?
In January 2015.
15.
Yes. So Dr.
So
Silva,
you just celebrated 2 years.
yes. Dr. Silva ended up being my angel investor.
Wow.
Yes, and you know, that was a turning point because you know, you can only do so much if you're not financially.
You just touched a really good point. So how did you pitch the idea to a doctor? You know, to become your angel investor.
You know what, she was my target market.
Ah.
She was my target market, and again, that's who this was specifically designed for. And you know, Dr. Silva is very good, very savvy shopper. So she was able to identify, you know what, this is something that will work.
So this is not for, I mean, it is for every woman, but specifically for who?
It's for a woman that likes to feel beautiful, sexy, confident, and can truly appreciate what it is to be organized, saving you time and money. Truly.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Because again, you know, and that you like to see your intimate.
And also, I assume, I'm not 100% sure,
Okay.
but this is kind of like fine ties, you know, like you have to like, you know, protect them, you know, so and they have like special care,
Right.
you know, because
you're not just going to shove them
yeah,
in the
exactly.
door. Right.
Okay, that makes sense. And 2 years is a fairly new business.
Well, and it is today. And so we formed in January, and we launched Hanging Secrets Closet on December 24th, 2015.
Okay.
So we basically only have the product in our hands 16 months. So we were able to launch 2 products, have the product in our hands 16 months, and you know, we're very fortunate to have it being sold right now on HSN.
On HSN. But you know what, like, what is really interesting here is that it feels like it's been only like 16, 18 months, when in reality this is something that you've been working on since 2009.
Right.
And you have invested a lot of money before the product was actually
Launched.
So this is a really good message for anyone who's planning to start a business, is that they need to understand that things, and especially big projects, don't happen overnight,
No,
right?
no. Even myself, you know, I realize it's a journey, and it's a journey, and there's a reason why there's a journey, and to me, it's almost like a test whether how bad you want it. You know, are you going to give up when things don't go your way? Are you just going to give in the towel? Because I believe that's what truly separates the entrepreneurs from the people that, you know, I'll just start something. If it doesn't go well, you know, it really puts you through the test.
Have you been in that position when you are like, oh my God, like this is like too much, I don't think I got myself into
No, because again, going back to the foundation, we don't give up. My father made sure, you know, we started something, we finish it. Regardless the conditions, regardless how tired you are, you just get it done. So in my head, there's no quitting. There's no quitting.
And for example, what's your advice for some entrepreneurs out there that didn't have that solid foundation, you know, like you had, like working on the fields? I mean, I think that this interview just started with the right foot, you know, because you kind of like laid out what helped to build a strong Frances Prado, right? So
it's a blessing, baby.
Exactly, it's a blessing. But for someone that hasn't go through something like that, what advice would you give them? Like read something, get a mentor, or
I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but I think truly what keeps you going, I run off of passion. That's what fuels me. You know, I start my day very early. I started at 3 o'clock in the morning and I ended at 10 o'clock at night. And for me to continue to work on hangings, because it's basically part-time because I have my full-time job. So all this is being accomplished in a part-time. And I believe once you find your true talents, your talents become your passion, and your passion becomes your fuel.
Your talents becomes your passion, and your passion becomes your fuel.
Yes,
I love
and
that.
to me, that's how I realized this is my passion. You won't get tired.
Yeah.
You won't get
no,
tired.
and also I'm pretty sure that it's very rewarding. Like once you start receiving feedback from your clients, that is also like an extra field, right?
Right, and you know, right now we're in the situation where we're getting the comments back, and what we're finding, a lot of mothers are buying them for their daughters. We're getting a lot of 2-buys. I'll buy one for my daughter as well, because the mom is paying for the bra, so she knows how much it costs, and so she wants to make sure that the daughter is taking care of it. You know, a funny fact was our first customer was a male. Yeah.
I don't want to get into that.
No, because again, he buys his wife the lingerie, and he wants to make sure she protects it. So that was a funny fact, but I think
that's probably a good advice for me. Yeah, I'm gonna start buying you some
and have somewhere to protect it.
Exactly, yeah.
And you know, we didn't go over the statistics. Bras and panties again, huh? We didn't go over the statistics. Only 7% of patents that are issued in the United States, only 7% are issued to sole female inventors.
Wow.
And only 0.3% are issued to Latina inventors, sole Latina inventors.
0.03?
0.3%.
3%?
Yes.
So
I asked myself, you know, again, why?
Yeah. Why?
Why? Well, again, for me, I think one of the things that would have been one of the biggest challenges was the financial part. You know, the $10,000 to $15,000, because people are very creative. Latinos are very creative. I find myself looking. You know, you go into a shop and you see someone fabricated something. They're very creative. You create things out of necessities. But I believe it's the money.
It is the money, and also you were lucky to have that contact at Costco.
Right, a friend of mine that put me into connection. So now what's happening is on Facebook, I'm getting messages, hey Frances, you know what, I had this idea but I haven't followed through. So there's really a need out there to provide that information on how to become, because everybody is very creative and they just need that guidance.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but if there are any Latinos, Latinas out there watching this, and if they have some questions about the patent process and stuff, can they contact you?
Absolutely, send them my way. You know, during this journey, people help you, and you have to understand. You know, you want to help back.
Yeah.
Because everybody needs a hand. Everybody needs their break, And if there's, you know, if there's anyone out there that needs some help, absolutely.
Now, and this is probably more on the tax end and stuff, but when you get your patent, is that something that it becomes an asset for the business?
Yes, because when you go from when you need a loan from the bank, and you're able to present that you have a patent, then they know, okay, this is a person that's invested in a patent, this is a person that has a secured product, so that does,
So it helps.
It does play a way. And a patent is good
And
for
how
20
do they
years.
evaluate the value of the asset? Like if you go to the bank, does it
I
carry
believe-
some value or not?
I believe it has to do with, you know, how large the market is.
Oh, okay.
You know, with your business plan.
Mhm.
How much, you know, what's the reach on this? Is this just, you know, is it a valid product, and is there a market for it, for scaling the business?
The scaling the business.
Yes.
Okay. And so right now you are selling these through retail or just online?
We have the travel size here. This one is being sold only on HSN, and we have the closet side that's in 2 retail locations, at Chica's Boutique and Otay Ranch Mall
Here in San Diego.
in San Diego.
Mhm.
And again, you know, the Chica's Boutique young ladies, I used to shop there, and they saw me go through the process, and you know what, I asked, can we put hanging secrets in here? And they said yes. So again, you know, it's women helping women, entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs. You know, they gave us that opportunity there to sell hanging secrets. We also are in the Brighter Side Boutique, which is a boutique for breast cancer survivors. And I don't know if you know or not, David, but Hanging Secrets is a pink product, so we do donate a percentage of our sales to breast cancer survivors, and that's through the Virginia Ann Fund. And what we like about that is that they also donate some of their product to non-insured women and to women from Tijuana and Ensenada.
That's really nice.
Yes, you have to give back.
Yeah.
You have to have.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you know, I feel like in the whole process you have learned so many different skills out of necessity, and one of them, like right now, I think like for you, kills like marketing, because I have seen you very active in social media, investing in yourself, in how to conduct interviews and like it. How important it has been for you to invest in your personal development?
Huge. Let me let you in on a little secret I did. Before I started
Hanging secrets.
Before I started Hanging Secrets, I considered myself a very private person. I didn't have Facebook. Before,
Wait,
no.
You didn't have Facebook
No.
in like 2009?
No. I just started my Facebook in 2015. I was not on any social media. Again, there was no
Zero.
need to be. Yes. I considered myself a private and shy person. There was no need for me to be. You know, I was a full-time manager at Costco, so you know, everything was taken care of. There was no need for me to be on social media.
So you are telling me that you got out of your comfort zone
Absolutely.
the moment that you start opening all these platforms.
You have to be, and what I realized that you can't be behind your product. You have to be in front of your product, because your product.
I can be behind this even.
You can hide behind there.
Okay.
You have to be in front of your product, and you know, you start to me, this is you know, I'm so excited about it, because not only have we developed this product and have launched Hanging Secrets, but I've also had a personal growth for myself.
For yourself.
Getting me out of the comfort zone. Understanding, you know what, you're representing your product, so you have to have the best presentation of yourself.
But you know what, like you're touching something really important here, because you have been working for a corporation that we all know, and you have been all these years there because you are good at what you do. So that doesn't mean like you were not good as a professional before, like you didn't have all these skills, but you were not comfortable with you putting yourself out there.
Right, because I call it, I was in my Costco cubby.
Costco copy.
I was in my Costco cubby. There was no need for me
To be out there.
And you know, one of the things, you know, when you work for Costco, well, you have that reputation of Costco that follows you. So when I launched out as an entrepreneur, you have, who's Frances Prado? You know, no one knows. So you have to start, I had to start all over again and saying, okay, and like you said, you know, the marketing strategies, that was something I wasn't doing at my current job. So I had to learn quickly to be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that.
So you think it is important for businesses to put the face behind the brand?
Absolutely.
Because this is something that Ramon de Leon has talked about in some of the Latino Connects and some of the conferences that he has participated in. I send a big hi to Ramon. But you are saying that it is important.
You have to, because people can't connect to a product, but they can connect to the person. Well,
I just say this is going to be the same.
But so you have to be out there. They want to see the person behind the product. You know, one of the biggest things for being an inventor, they want the aha moment. You know, what was the aha moment? That's huge. So again, you know, taking classes on presentation, and you know, not just, I'm learning as I go by day. I had, you know, my marketing wasn't there. Again, I wasn't on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. I didn't even own a laptop. Yes, I didn't even own a laptop until I became an entrepreneur.
The only Latina, but you know, that's one of the things that we talk about, you know, here at the Hispanic Chamber of E-commerce, that it's important for us, regardless of what we do, whether it's we're selling a product or a service, we must have a strong digital presence.
Yeah. If you are not on social media, you do not exist.
Yeah, I agree. And not just that, but I'm saying like investing in, because sometimes people think that just social media is gonna be like the magic wand that is gonna make your business successful. But
developing.
Exactly, and it's also like the whole picture, right? Like it's like an integrated effort. So you get your laptop, and then on your laptop you have the right tools that are gonna help you to manage your business, like QuickBooks, Microsoft PowerPoints, you know, to write proposals or pitches and stuff, right?
You have to be very computer savvy. You have to, and I, you know, at the time I wasn't. So I've been learning, and I had to learn fast. I read. I mean, I don't have time to read, but I do get audiobooks. So that's how I continue to audiobooks. You know, I'm in my car a couple of hours a day.
I don't listen to news anymore.
No, I don't.
What's the point?
Right. So I'm constantly getting books as entrepreneurs and whatever. I truly believe you have to never stop learning. And you have to invest in yourself. Never stop learning. But I think that the most important thing is you have to share your knowledge along the way. You have to share it to the next generation of young ladies. I mean, in my case, for the next generation of young ladies and maybe inventors out there.
I think you have an amazing story to tell. I mean, because I didn't know, you know, like your backgrounds and I'm sorry, and I think that a lot of people, after watching this, they're gonna connect in so many different levels with you, and I'm really loving everything that I'm hearing, because like that comfort zone is, I think, what stopped us from being successful. Like we don't like to push ourselves to the limit, even when we are at risk of losing everything.
Right.
And I commend you for not being afraid of taking all these steps, because I have seen it, like over the last 8 years, I have met a lot of businesses like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
You have to be fearless, David. You have to be fearless. You know, and being an entrepreneur, I'll say in Spanish, you can't have vergüenza. You just need to go out there and get it done.
And get it done.
And
have you ever felt like, let's say that you need to get something done, and you try to do it by yourself. So have you gotten to the point where you reach out to people that are experts on whatever that is stopping you from moving forward?
Absolutely. I think, you know, you have to identify what you're good at and what you're not. What are your strengths and what are not your strengths. And when you need something, you source out. And I love to delegate. I mean, you have to delegate. Delegating is key in whatever corporate sector or as an entrepreneur. You have to delegate to the right people that have that talent or the skill that's not your strength.
But I don't know if you have an advice in this regard, but sometimes it's difficult because you may want to delegate, but you don't have the resources to like hire that expert or hire that service and stuff. So you have
I was in that same situation.
How do you do it?
So I have a niece that is a very bright young lady going to college. So she helps me do press releases. She helps me do the writing portion of it. So I'll give her a little bit of homework, and she turns that around for me. And you know what? I'm paying her a decent a wage, but that's the way I'm able to.
And it stays in the family.
It stays in the family. Yes, and it's it's also a mentoringship because you have to stay with the younger generation because they keep you on your toes. They're letting you know what's going on, what's new. The millennials, they're huge, and you have to stay connected to the younger generation.
Yeah.
So by me working with her, she just turned 18. She keeps me in the loop of what's going on.
Yeah. You know what? Like, whoever ends up watching this interview, this is a really good advice. You need to tap into that and into those resources that you have around you, like your nieces, your nephews, your sons, your daughters, etc. Because they have grown up with all this technology and social media and everything, so for them it's natural.
Right, and what was really easy by that is because they're the family, so they know you. So they know you. They have that. They know what you want. Because sometimes you take something to someone else that doesn't know you and is not able to match the content to what your brand is. And because your family knows you, then it makes it so much easier. It has made it so much easier.
My God, this is beautiful. Like, your daughter designed the logo. Your niece is doing some PR for you.
Yes.
You are learning yourself also. So
it's a team.
This whole family team effort, I love it. It's perfect. It's a great story. So, what stage are you in? What's next for Hanging Secrets?
Right now, again, is brand recognition.
Okay.
We identify. We know we have a very good product. We know we have a product that's working, that's functional, that we're getting very good reviews. So right now,
it adds a value.
Yes. So right now, the biggest thing is getting brand recognition, getting out there, getting more retail agreements, and targeting, again, the target market for Hanging Secrets. That's huge. When we first started Hanging Secrets, you start to realize, okay, you get some women saying, oh, you know what, I buy $20 bras. I don't need that. So you have to understand, okay, that's not my market.
Yeah.
And I can tell you another thing that's pretty funny. That one time we were in a business conference, and I was at Starbucks, and I had Hanging Secrets lying down on the table, and
at
Starbucks. But I had the young lady come and tell me, "Can you come in to hide?" And she goes, "The customers are complaining because you have that out there. Can you please put it away?" So yes, absolutely. So I had to put it away. When I get, when we going back to brand recognition, when we have our customers, what, can you post it on Facebook? I don't want someone seeing my calzones on Facebook. So they don't want to post a photo of them with their Hanging Secrets. But the millennials, the younger people have, they don't have a challenge with that. So the other generation does. So, at that time you have to learn what works, what doesn't work, start shifting and changing and making the adjustments that you need to make to get it out there. Because again, your customers are huge. Are huge, but you get some that are shy and they want to show their chones.
I was thinking about the different customs and traditions, between generations.
Sure.
I remember my abuelitas and tías abuelas that they didn't have purses. They will get the money from here, and then they will pay you, and then will put it back in their bra.
Sure.
So maybe you can create a bra with a little pocket in for coins and for
I think those days are over. Bills. I think those days are over, Taide.
Now we have the digital wallets. But this is very interesting. So you said more retail contracts.
More retail agreements.
And also, are you gonna start pushing a little stronger on e-commerce and stuff?
Again, that's our goal, is to get it. The distribution is huge.
It's huge.
And huge. We're in the process of getting back on live at HSN.
Okay.
Hanging Secrets is not an item that you could just hang it somewhere. Because I get a lot of people, what is it? What is it? How does it work? So it's a product that needs to be demonstrated. And, the platform for that has been HSN, because, when you're on HSN, people get to see how it works and how they use it, because it's such a new concept.
So on the travel version, how many did you say that you can?
You could fit 3 to 4 bras, depending on the bra size, in the front pocket, and then 5 to 6 matching panties in the back.
Matching panties. And I forgot to ask you, where do you manufacture this?
We're manufacturing them in China.
Okay. And was it difficult to find the manufacturer?
We had gone to a expo in in Minnesota. And my business partner had made a very good connection with one of the vendors.
And that's where you outsource.
And that's where we outsource. So, you know, we were very fortunate. And another thing, is, you know, your vendors, you have to find vendors and people that are compatible with you.
That's a good
because
advice.
you're only as good in this situation. You know, you're only as good as your vendor. Because if your vendor is not meeting the deadline, is not meeting the qualities, that's a representation on you.
On your
on your business.
brand.
So it's a partnership and it's a relationship. So sometimes, you know, the price point may not be where it's at. However, if the delivery dates and the quality is there, then that's what you need to focus on, because someone could probably maybe do it $3 cheaper, but what about the quality?
Yeah.
And what about, you know, meeting the on time? So yeah, to me, it's key. And one of the things that we're used to doing is also I'm accustomed to, you get 3 bids.
Okay.
So you know, is it too high, is it too low? And then from after you get the bids, you know, you don't discard and go for the cheapest one, because you want to ask the questions, and maybe the one in the middle is better than the one that's the cheapest one.
So when you got the 3 bids, you got 3 samples or not?
First the 3 bids, and then from there you have the conversation with the person. You're able to, I have that experience, so you're able to weed out maybe, you know what, he's not answering the questions the way they should be answered, so I'll eliminate this one and this one's here. So you get a sample. And absolutely, that's how they prove themselves, is by samples. But it's a relationship, and it has to be compatible to what your envision or what your quality is.
Yes. And also, like, you know, keep in mind that the business is going to get to a point where it will explode.
Right.
So you want to make sure
capable?
that you have that.
Yes. Yes. And you know, the loyalty is huge, because again, you have to make sure that, you know, that it's a relationship. It's loyalty, good communication, and never assume. I've learned that the hard way. Never assume that person knows. You know, you get it all in writing. You know, I've met a few entrepreneurs, and again, you know, my experience at the corporate level, never assume, and always get it in writing, because people have a different perception.
I know.
And what you think and I think is a whole different story. So getting it in
it's
writing.
too bad that it has to be that way, you know, because I like the old school, like shaking hands, you know, your word against mine, but
yeah, you can't do that nowadays. I mean, you can, but you're putting yourself at risk. You're putting yourself at risk. So, you know, like we say in Spanish, cuentas claras, amistades largas. Yeah, so you have to be upfront, you have to be clear, and it has to be good for both parties involved.
Yeah, win-win for everyone. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, because the moment that you go into a business deal, trying to take advantage of the situation.
No. You know, I always see, you know, when you go in and look for a vendor or a retail agreement, look at long term. Don't just look at what they're going to do for you that day and solve your problem. No, you have to see if the vendor is going to grow with you.
It's like a marriage.
Yes,
right?
It is, and you have to be very selective. Because again, you know, I've talked to a lot of inventors online through LinkedIn, and you know, you hear the horror stories. People put in all their savings into their product, and you know, the vendor never performs, or you hear a lot of stories.
And then like big investments, $500,000, $700,000.
And it all boils back down to, you know, did you get it in writing? And sometimes you can get it in writing and not assume, and sometimes, you know, things don't go your way, but you have to be cautious.
You have to be good. Well, this is all really good stuff, and like I said, like Frances, it's willing, you know, to connect with you guys. Whoever is already like working on an invention or something, like reach out to people, you know, because she has been there, she has learned, she has made mistakes, makes a lot of successes, and
if I could save, you know, a little bit of heartache, absolutely. Well, that's, you know, hopefully when it's going to be my goal is to write a book, because I really believe. I really believe there's a need out there, because I hear it all the time. I hear it all the time, and mostly in the Latino community. I hear it all the time. So it has to be in Spanish, and it has to be bilingual. Because I believe there's a need. There is truly a need.
No, it's definitely a need, and not just in that specific field, but I see it every day. You know, there is a need for high quality information in many different areas, you know, from like buying a home, starting your business, buying a car.
Sure. The more information you have, the better decisions you're going to make.
All the time, yeah. So I know that we can keep this conversation going forever, but I don't want to leave, because you know, it's still like shocked by the 13 you age and stuff.
You want to know another secret, another funny story? Not too long ago, my husband and I went to church here to Our Lady of Guadalupe, which is right here by downtown.
Yeah.
And a father didn't want to marry us. When we went, my mom took me to church when I was 16 years old to see if he would marry us before I went with my husband. And the priest says, no, you're too young, and if I marry you, it'd be worse because in a few months you're going to be divorced, or a few years you'll be divorced. Well, maybe about 2 months ago, we went to church and I saw him. I told my husband,
same father
yes. I went over, he recognized me. And I said, by the way, I'm Frances. And I explained, I go, do you remember you didn't want to marry me? And he says, well, you look really good, so I guess life has been treating you well.
That's good. So that's where my question was going to go. Like, what's your secret for a successful marriage?
I believe the most important thing in marriage and in any relationship is respect. Is respect. Respect, communication, and self-control. Because if we don't have self-control, you could say things that are very hurtful and damaging, and there's no repairs.
I agree.
But I think that, I've been very blessed. My husband is an amazing man, an amazing father, and we're a team, baby. We're truly a team, and my family is really being very supportive. For Mr. Prado, this is all new. That I used to just go to work and come home.
And now it's like traveling or getting home late.
Right, or you're on the phone again.
Or you get home and then you eat and then boom, a trabajar otra vez.
Right, because again, my home responsibilities are still there, and I have to.
They don't go away.
Right, and my family is my priority. So it's every day is different.
Yeah.
Every day is different, and when you have a strong, and I've been very blessed with my family, my brothers and sisters, my business partner. I've been very blessed with the people that are around me that allow us to be entrepreneurs.
That's super key. Like and I completely agree with you. Like if you don't have the support of your closest family members and friends, it's very unlikely that you're gonna succeed in business.
No, you need a community. You need a community, and again, you have to be happy at home in order to be happy at what you do.
Yeah,
I
agree. Yeah, because if you're not happy at home, you go to work or you go to your office, and it's gonna show.
And again, I tell my husband to be very patient. That it's not gonna do me any good if I turn around one day and he's not there.
Yeah, no.
Because it's not worth it. I could say as an entrepreneur, one of the things that we sacrifice the most is the time that we spend with our family.
I agree.
However, if because again, you work as a team, and I'm fortunate that he knows that this is my dream, and it's my time now. I've raised my kids. I'm in a very good stage of my life right now. My children are adults. I couldn't have done this when they were toddlers.
I know. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's very hard.
It's hard.
It's very hard. So to me, the timing was right. The support that I have at home is right.
One last question, I promise. Because
Okay.
this is really
marriage?
no. This is about because I know this is gonna resonate with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners out there. When let's say you have this idea, right? And you tell your closest group like, hey, I'm planning to launch this business, right? And we're gonna have to go through a lot of sacrifices. We're gonna cut here, boom, 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 da da da. But do you have to set yourself an X amount of years or whatever? So, you know what I mean? Like you tell your husband, like, okay, for the next 5 years, I'm gonna be like hustling, grinding, and you won't see me as much, but you have to be patient.
If I would have told him that, he wouldn't have let me join this journey.
So you just like, give me 1 month, next one.
I think what's happening is, he's seeing it from a very different perspective. He's seeing how this started. He saw, my first prototype. He saw when my sister was helping me. So he's seeing the progress. As long as I continue to make progress, he's fine. It's a journey.
That's a good one. So whoever is starting a business or is in the second, third year or whatever, if you're not seeing any progress, your significant other is right. But if you are seeing some progress, you need to keep negotiating.
Right.
hey,
Right.
help me out, and we can make this happen. That's
Right.
that's a really good one.
And I think I just got a little bit of credibility, a little more
Yeah.
with this article on People en Español.
Oh yeah,
That was, thank you. That was, I mean, that was huge. Never, again, thanks to the project, HS American Dream, Lily Hill, again, helping Latino entrepreneurs. You need help. You can't go on this alone. And, when you have those opportunities, you have to go out there. Their opportunities are not going to come.
Yeah.
You have to go out there and get them.
And I want to publicly congratulate you for that, because unfortunately I have seen, like, when Latinos succeed in whatever they're doing, other Latinos get celosos, they get jealous and da. But they need to understand, like, when someone like you gets on People en Español, it's a big deal. Not just for you, but for the whole community, and for every Latina entrepreneur out there, because they can see your story, they can relate to your story and say, like, you know what, if she made it happen, I can make it happen.
Right. I get inspired by seeing other Latinas, so it's a process of inspiring those opportunities, and that's how it should be embraced. As what, okay, I could do it, and I can get it done. And being bilingual, there's something I have to be very grateful was to my father, because he never allowed us to speak in English at home or English to him. We had to speak to him in Spanish. And I'm very grateful for that, because again, having the opportunity to market to the Latinos in Spanish, with the People en Español and in English, that's huge. That opens you up, to a larger market. It's an asset. And and setting good, being a good role model, and setting, that we can get it accomplished if you really put your mind to it.
I agree. Well, Frances, anything else that you would like to add? Because I still have a whole bunch of questions, and I have them in Spanish too. So we're gonna have to do another Facebook Live in Spanish, for those that prefer to listen to these interviews in Spanish. But is there anything else that you would like to add before we wrap up this Facebook Live?
Sure. I want to thank you for this opportunity to be here, and also I think if there's something I want to leave the audience with, would be create your dreams, crave your dreams, and cultivate your dreams.
Beautiful.
Frances Prado.
We're gonna have to create a little banner with that and share it. That's beautiful, Frances. And again, your story is very motivating. I'm very proud of everything that you have accomplished so far. I have no doubts in my mind that you still have a lot of great things coming your way, just because good people, with good heart, that have the passion that you have, that have the drive that you have, there is no way that something magical is going to happen sooner than later. And I think that you're already seeing it, because I think that from going from there to this, it's just like a huge success. And now the media exposure that you're getting, the new partners that are helping you out, the new opportunities, like HSN, it's just like,
it snowballs.
It's a snowball, but it's no coincidence. Like, everything is hard work. Like, if you were sitting on your house without your social media presence and without your drive, none of this would be happening.
Right. You have, again, that's where the cultivating comes in.
The cultivating.
You have to cultivate it every day. In order, you move an inch every day, you're going to get to your destination.
To your destination.
Don't just
stand there and wait for something to happen.
You have to get it done.
You have to get it done. Excellent. Thank you very much for watching us, and thank you, Frances, for being here today. And like I said, we will invite Frances again so we can share her story in Spanish.
Claro que sí.
Thank you, everyone, for watching us. And if you have any questions, feel free to go to Hanging Secrets Facebook page.
Yes.
And send Frances a message.
Yes.
That's the easiest way.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Taide, for having me.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye-bye.